Howdy, Pilgrims. Welcome back to Venture Pill. On this week's dose, we have a special compilation of short street interviews from South by Southwest this past week. Brandon and I have been embodying the boots-on-the-ground mindset this year, looking to connect with more pilgrims and future pilgrims and grow the podcast and the brand. What better place to do that than on the streets of South by Southwest in Austin, which were filled with incredible founders, investors, and creatives from all over the world. And when I say that, I mean every other person we spoke to was from outside the U.S., so that was super fun. This week's episode will be part one of a two-part series. So check out the show notes on this episode for more information on the people and companies included today. And with that, let's dive on in.
You see here, kid, you gotta just go for it. Don't think about what comes after or what came before. You just gotta bend your knees, take a deep breath, and jump.
This is Venture Pill, your weekly dose of startups and venture capital. We break down recent startups in the news and interview founders and investors to help you stay informed in the evolving world of venture.
Here Sunday at South by Southwest, we wanted to hear a little bit about what brings you to town and tell us about your startup.
So I'm a speaker. I speak this morning about how creators in Latin America can create income and inclusion. And I came from Brazil. I built this startup. It's not a startup anymore that teaches people how to deal with their own money. So we create inclusion. We talk to 25 million people every month in Brazil.
Wow.
And now we are changing from a content-based company to a fintech. We call FinPact Tech because our goal is to impact people, changing the way they deal with finances. So we are creating a transactional platform using AI to show people what's the best product in financial market in real time.
FinPact Tech, you heard it here first, folks. That's a great term. We're going to be using that one. So talk to us. You were telling us a little bit before the interview about the educational component of the company. What does that mean to you? Is it like really a meaningful mission to the company to educate financial literacy in the country, in Latin America?
Yeah, I think it's for everyone because we were not prepared to deal with a so simple tool. Money is just a simple tool, but it has a lot of behavior and emotions coming around and bias and rumors that sometimes you get stressed thinking about money. But if you can take the stress out of the equation, so this is what we do. And we also use entertainment to do this. So we create reality shows, we have a podcast, we have a lot of creators. I am a creator also, but I try to put more people inside our ecosystem, so we have more voices talking about money in their own way. So the financial literacy point, it's the key that opens people's minds so they can not only learn, but because money is a kind of second language. You like English is your first language. Yeah. It's not mine, as you can see. But money, it was my second language. I started with Portuguese and then with money. I saved money since I was 8 years old. So when you have this kind of fluence in money language, everything becomes easier.
Definitely. Well, tell us a little bit. We're curious about different startup ecosystems. What is it like in Brazil? Were you raising venture capital money to grow the startup? Was it more of a bootstrapped company?
My company is a bootstrap company. Now 8 years after start, we will raise for the first time. We were very fortunate, very successful in this first moment of the company, and now we have to change the way we think and raise some money with impact venture capitalists. This is something different from what we are doing, but all over the world is the same path for startups. So in Brazil, it's the same thing. There is this very wealthy ecosystem, and it's starting to grow. Like 3 years or 4 years ago, we were always looking outside, like, oh, the venture capital outside Brazil. And now we have a very strong ecosystem of venture capital inside Brazil also. Yeah.
Wonderful. And last question for you. We understand that less than 2% of venture capital funding goes to women. And so for our women listeners out there, what advice would you give them if they want to become a founder or maybe they want to get involved in the world of entrepreneurship?
Yeah, first of all, we have to ask ourselves why. Why is that? Are we putting our feet on entrepreneurship in startups, or we are like men, the same? I don't know how many women are in the ecosystem. I don't know this 2% is because it's less women than men, or because like men in venture capital doesn't want to put money in women corporate or company.
Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's not all black and white.
Yeah.
But how would you inspire women to get into entrepreneurship?
I would say we have all the tools and maybe more, because women have this kind of connection with the clients, which for me is the key to success, to be successful in your business. When you create something that really change people's lives, when you create something that it's not only to sell to a venture capitalist, it's not like a pyramid scheme, you know?
Or a widget or something like that.
Yeah, you are creating something that really have some value. And I think women have this kind of connection with other hearts, you know? It's like this sixth sense that we have. And never be afraid of put your value. Like, I earned that. And yes, I am raising money. And yes, I will make a lot of money on that. Yes, and I will become very rich.
Yes.
You know, yeah, you don't have to be afraid of saying that loudly and with this kind of freedom. Like, it's okay to be rich, bitch. Yeah.
And with that, we cut it up. All right, we're out here at South by Southwest with our good buddy Luca. Luca, tell us a little bit about yourself, what you're excited about for South by.
Yeah, man. I'm Luca, originally from Bucharest, Romania, but I've called Austin home for the last 7 years now, which is longer than like most of the population of the city at this point. What am I excited for at South by? I mean, honestly, it's just kind of a carnival that takes over the city of Austin. Like, it's great just stepping out of my apartment, walking 10 minutes, and just wandering into shit, discovering things. Like, the first thing I ran into today was like the Shopify activation. They have this whole like made-up store. You get free shit. They have brands like Feastables and Chamberlain Coffee and stuff. So excited to explore in my own hometown, hang out with some friends, and see what the vibe is in general. I feel like big conferences like this can be very indicative of general vibes, and like whether it's big companies and startups. And so I'm curious to see what that looks like this year.
Yeah, well, last year was all Web3, NFTs everywhere. What are you seeing? Like, is it more AI this year? What are you seeing?
Yeah, definitely not as much Web3, I'll tell you that. I'm sure more AI stuff, but I mean, it's just day one that I'm walking around, so I'm not super plugged in. But granted, still a ton of events, some really good, just like people in Austin accounts, plugging events, RSVPs and stuff. So it should be a fun time. Should be a good week.
Well, give us, and to wrap up this short interview here, give us like a startup we should keep our eyes out for. Maybe they're Austin-based, maybe not.
So something you should keep an eye out for is I was hanging out with a good friend who works at Uniswap, which is a Web3 like automated market maker firm and whatnot at ETH Denver a week ago. And so they just released their new Uniswap wallet. It's like their first wallet product. It's in beta right now. Should be a good experience. I know they have some exciting new things in the works. So even though Web3 is down right now, there's a lot of cool people still building in the space. So look out for upcoming Uniswap products. And look out for anything zero knowledge, ZK related, because that's kind of the hot button topic right now.
What is zero knowledge? What is that?
Yeah, zero knowledge proofs, or just called like ZK rollups, usually is a way to compact more transactions onto the Ethereum blockchain. And so that's kind of the big fad right now, sweeping a lot of both Web3 founders and Web3 VCs. So it's really cool. It's a result of literally like new mathematical discoveries that have come out of how you can verify that transactions have happened that have happened off-chain in a way that like you can trust it 100% and it lives on-chain. So make something like Ethereum, which can be expensive to transact on, like a lot more manageable and a lot cheaper to use. So look out for that. Talking to a few startups right now that are in the A16Z crypto startup school, and ZK is like kind of all the rage right now. So.
Super cool. All right, we'll have to keep our eyes out for that. Maybe cover one of those companies on the pill someday. But Luca, thanks for hanging with us for a little bit. It's a pleasure.
Good to see you.
All right, we are live here, South by Southwest Day 2, here with Dr. Bell. Dr. Bell, great to meet you. We'd love to hear what brings you to town, and tell us a little bit more about yourself.
Absolutely. So we're here in town. I'm from Vanderbilt University, from our Vanderbilt Innovation Center called the Wond'ry. You take the word wonder and foundry and put it together, the Wond'ry, right? And so basically we are the Innovation and Design Center on Vanderbilt's campus. We do entrepreneurship, social innovation, making and emerging technology, advanced prototyping, and innovation and design research. So we're actually here today because we're part of a National Science Foundation program called ICOR. ICOR is where we train innovators, faculty members, alumni, students, staff. We train these innovators, turn them into entrepreneurs, and they translate and commercialize deep technology from the university into the market to create jobs, stimulate the economy, and create positive value change across the country and world. And positive value change is the actual definition for innovation, right? So that's kind of what we do. And what we did is we brought 12 participants here, students and alumni, and we are doing something called an ICOR regional program. So we're teaching them about value propositions, customer segments, and how to perform customer discovery. And they are actually out here in these streets and in the convention centers right now doing customer discovery, right? Learning what the needs are with their customers, oh yeah, that was cool. Leaning through it, learning more about how they can actually bring solutions of value to their customers. And then we meet with them almost every night, teach them how to draw insights from those interviews, and then that's how they're able to take their innovations and actually create value that solves those needs. And that's how you create positive value change.
Hell yeah. Sounds like you're taking innovation to the next level for the next generation.
Inclusive innovation is innovation optimized, and that's what we do in the Mid-South. That's what we do as part of ICOR, and that's what we do at the Wond'ry.
Very well said. One more question for you.
For sure.
What is so many good events going on at South by Southwest. What's one highlight that you've had thus far?
Oh, bro, you're throwing me the line. Gosh, there's just so much going on.
Yeah.
I gotta summarize it down to one event.
You can list a couple.
Well, I'll list it out to a moment, and this was a moment that we had yesterday. Well, we'll talk about the conference, and then we'll talk about kind of something aside from the conference, because it has a lot to do with the culture. So we were in the Robert Downey Jr. Talk yesterday, and we're all pretty much Marvel fans. Right now I'm like, y'all don't hear it, but Mjolnir is coming, across the country, and I'm about to catch it. We'll do that later. But we're big big Marvel fans and stuff like that. So we went to that, and this cool moment happened where the teleprompter went down, like technical difficulties, and so he's standing there, and you can kind of tell like the script is off, and then you just kind of see him change. And he just starts ad-libbing. Like, he's like, look, the teleprompter's down, so I'm gonna do my own interviews. And he started interviewing people from the crowd, and just being able to see someone be so comfortable in interacting with people and creating like that positivity in the room was awesome to see. And that positivity is kind of infectious all over the place.
Totally.
And then, we've got the interactive pass, but we've been doing like other stuff. So we as a team kind of went out last night, and we went over to the film place, we went and got some dinner, and just kind of like formulating that camaraderie, like that kind of bonding, and kind of this sort of environment where everyone's here to meet people, everyone's here to discover and learn new things. Man, just having that sort of laughter and joy, that's what this is all about.
Totally. We were just talking about how contagious the vibes are out here. It's really awesome.
We got to be careful with that word, but in this sort of environment, that's what we're about.
You're right. One more question for you.
Oh
yeah. Tell us about your shirt.
Yeah. So it says, innovation is contagious, pass it on. Vines is actually one of our student innovation groups, and we actually have some students that are here with us that are representing Vines. And so, innovation isn't just limited to like one group, man. Innovation is for everyone.
Yes.
And everyone should feel like they have the creativity, the power, and the wherewithal to create positive value change, man. That's what we're here to do.
Well said, man. One more. What would you say is the single? I know it might be hard to boil it down. All right, you can list a few again. What are some of the most important skills for tomorrow's innovators to hone in on?
Okay, so the most important thing is that you truly need to understand your customer's needs, right? The first step in the design thinking process is empathy, right? Empathy. Yes. That's why inclusive innovation is so important, because when you have a team of people and they're coming from different backgrounds and different expertise and different lived experience, they can empathize with the customer, with the purpose, with the person on so many different levels. You know, that's why we say inclusive innovation is innovation optimized. It's because you can empathize and truly understand those needs and truly align yourself both emotionally and mentally with those people's needs so you can actually innovate the right solution. So that's step number one. Like, you have to be able to understand the needs of your customers, understand the needs of your users who you're trying to develop your solutions for. That's number one. Number two, you've got to act compassionately, right? And the way you can act compassionately, compassion is actually defined as empathizing with someone, recognizing their suffering, and then going and deciding to do something about it and doing it. So the next step is acting compassionately. What is the actual solution that can, you know you're spitting facts. You know you're spitting facts when the animals start lighting on you. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, you have to really truly try to be compassionate about the solutions and really come up with ideas, and that's why we're doing iCore. Like, what are all these research? How can we use that to actually solve problems with real people? And that's the second thing. It's like, how can you utilize technology that exists to solve a unique problem for this person and end their suffering? So number one, you got to have empathy. Number one, you got to move compassionately, because innovation is compassion.
Hey, very well said. I know you got somewhere to be. We'd love to have you here all day.
Cool.
But appreciate you taking the time.
The Wond'ry's on Instagram. The Wond'ry's on TikTok.
Oh yeah.
The Wond'ry's on LinkedIn. We all have our own pages too. Hit us up on LinkedIn. Yep. If you just put Wond'ry Bell, it'll show up, and then you can find all of us. You see our faces. You can find all of us, and we're here to really connect with anyone who's trying to come up with ideas to help people. That's what we're all about.
You talk the talk, and you certainly walk the walk as well. Appreciate your time, Dr.
Cool,
Bell.
Absolutely, yeah. Good to meet y'all.
So, Dr. Bell, you insisted we bring Deanna out here.
Insisted.
Please tell us a little bit more. If you were giving a very hype promo tape for her, and then we'll cut to Deanna.
Yeah. Look, let me tell y'all something right now. This is Deanna Meador, and I'm gonna tell you what happened last week. She is the first woman on Earth in all of history to raise $1.5 million in 8 hours. And not only did she do it in 8 hours, she did it on International Women's Day. Epic, iconic. Insert all of those words there. I'm going to turn it over to Deanna and let her tell you more about what she did.
Please, Deanna.
Yeah, hey everyone. So if you got to raise money for your startup, so I run a company called Coutour Technologies. We provide virtual fitting, virtual try-on solutions. If you got to raise money, why not make it fun? So we decided we were going to do it in 8 hours and do it on International Women's Day to really spread that message that women can raise money. We have amazing startups, and we can do it in the South.
Oh yeah, that's a message we can all get behind.
Yep.
Real quick, if you'll indulge us here, what would you say is one of the biggest challenges facing your startup right now?
So we are in that phase where we were in stealth mode for about 3 years. Just started rolling out into the market, so we're in a transition phase. We're going from R&D to serving customers. Our first customer is a $1 billion uniform company, so we went straight into the big time.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And one thing we like to see is if the people we interview have any other startups that we may not know about that they think others should know about.
Yeah.
So
So you pick one, I'll pick one.
Perfect.
Yeah, so we have a couple of Vanderbilt student, now alums, they're a couple years out of undergrad, that started an energy company called Zeno Power. So if you don't know them, they're just a couple years out of undergrad, but they were just valued at $100 million. Wow. So we're really, really proud of them.
Can you tell us just a little more about what they do?
Yeah, so it's around using nuclear waste for battery power.
Wow.
Yep.
All right, say no more. That's awesome.
We have another startup called IndoShunt. They're actually going to be pitching in the Heartland pitch competition, and it's really important for us because they were actually in undergrad when they first started down their entrepreneurial journey. They went through our iCore regional programming, and within 1 year, they had a founded company that raised funds from the government. So they were a government-backed startup. Basically, they have a very innovative surgical solution that helps surgeons be able to perform surgery better. And the next step with that is that it also provides patients the capability to recover faster from the surgery. So that's one of our teams that we have actually, well, both teams. Remember, we showed you Kyle's shirt. They're both actually in the launch incubator in Nashville, Tennessee, right across the street from campus. So definitely look up EndoShunt. Definitely look up XenoPower. They are truly creating positive value change in the world. So
There you have it. Thank you both. 2 new startups for us to track. Appreciate it.
yeah.
Thank you.
All right, we're out here on Sunday at South by Southwest in Austin, Texas. It's Elena's first time in Austin, and we want to hear a little bit more about what brings you to South by.
I'm here to represent Tamatem Games. It's a mobile games publisher right out of the MENA region, the Middle East. We're a company based in Jordan, and we localize mobile games for the Arabic-speaking market.
Very cool. And so what kinds of stuff are you doing here at South by to get the word out about the company?
We're just networking, going to sessions, focused on gaming and tech, meeting so many people. There are so many people here, it gets a bit overwhelming, but trying to meet as many people as possible to just get the name out on Tamatem and Jordan as a whole, and trying to get investments going into the region and the country and the company.
Yeah, so we're curious. Tell us a little bit more about the startup ecosystem in Jordan and maybe just generally in the Middle East.
It's actually booming. It's doing really, really well. There are so many cool startups happening that are getting invested and funded by international companies. We recently got a Series B investment by Krafton, who is the developer of PUBG, the mobile game PUBG. So the developers of PUBG, Krafton, led a Series B investment round in Tamatem of December of 2022, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Congrats. That's huge. Yeah, what we do on the show oftentimes is we'll cover companies that recently raised a round, and so that's super exciting.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
What is a little bit outside of startups, what is one thing you were expecting to see in Austin that maybe was a little bit different than what you heard?
It's my first day, so not much has been different. But I mean, it's honestly, the people here are super nice, and my expectations have been met and exceeded. So I'm super happy about that. And the music, obviously, super excited for that as well.
Yeah.
The music scenes here is big.
Any specific events or maybe musical artists that you're looking forward to seeing while you're here?
All of them. The list is really massive. My friend right there, Fuad, also is a startup guy from Jordan. He represents Moqsam, his company. And we're just here to figure things out. It's just the first day. We're still jet lagged, so we kind of need to schedule everything. But yeah, super excited.
Well, welcome, and thanks for coming on the show for a little bit.
Check out Tamatem.
Tamatem. We will link that when we post about it. Thanks so much, Elena. Yeah. Thanks for listening. Join us next week for another dose of startups and venture capital. And as always, we appreciate our pilgrims spreading the word about the show. Share with your friends and help someone else make the pilgrimage. See you next time.
She told me that she only bumps my music when she's lonely. Thinks my vibe's a little low-key, okie dokie, that's alright, but wait, I don't know how to do things different.